Welcome to ERL's track guide for Spain round 2. First, I'd like to thank our member Neil for his message. Neil sent a message saying that track guides were full of very important details and information that really helped him. And I want to thank him that kind message he sent me. That really what makes all of this worth it, and let's hope it can help so many more people. And also, I will try to do something. It's not, I will not deviate from the concept of the other track guide, but I will try to combine what's best of them because for me, to explain the track, the TT perhaps will give you a better view, and we'll also do a small round pre-session with special info tips for the Grand Prix session on itself. So as for the track, let's start immediately. The lap was done not with an optimal TT setup, but with the setup that I will advise you for the Grand Prix session in order to make it as close as possible because as you know the experience on TT is quite different from the experience on Grand Prix sessions. Okay, so let's go. Okay, as per last year, I think that on this year's game, braking has to be done a little earlier than F123. On F123, I think I pushed a little further this braking zone here. I think that it's best if you brake a little before, after the 100-meter board, and a little before that slash on the curb. As per the gears, it's the usual. You will take this on fourth gear and focus on building all your speed into T2, which should be done on fifth gear to help stabilize the car. And as per T3, um, it's even on Grand Prix session with tire wear building up, it has to be done on full throttle. A little tip for T3. I like to hug this right curb, and you will notice that after the middle of the corner, you can bring it closer to the right as you can and try to make somewhat of a straight path until the braking zone of the next corner. On this corner, you need to avoid at all costs to let it drift to your left because you will lose time. You will risk track limits invalidation, or even worse, by trying to correct, you may lose your rear because you'll be pushing throttle and wheel too much on this place. Around here, as you can see from the wheel animation, wheel will start to straighten up from this point, and this actually shakes off a little on your lap time. So as for this one, you can take that overpass with the MCS Cruises sponsorship as your breaking point, and as usual, it will be common in Spain. Spain is not a place for very heavy braking, it's more of precise braking to reduce your car speed to the optimal entry corner speed in order to take full advantage of it. Here is a good example. You will try to apply the precise amount of braking so the car will reduce without losing its momentum and gradually rebuild your speed on the corner. For this one, you should keep it on fifth gear. I think you approach this on seventh, an extended seventh gear. You should keep it on fifth or fourth, but be aware this is a place for a spin if you go too early on the throttle. Spain is all about controlling your edge on returning to the throttle. Most of the times it seems that you can do it, but unfortunately the car will snap upon you. Also, contrary to last year, on this year's game, it seems it's better to try to keep it as close as you can to the middle or the right. So do not finish this turn on the left curve. Okay, so for this one is a common place for losing lap time because it's easy to mess up your braking point. I think that this time we have distance boards. I'm not sure, but I think that on this place there usually weren't any distance boards. So this time you will have a more valid reference point. But it's very easy to overshoot your braking point here. My advice, be as disciplined as you can be. Don't think you can brake later than you should because here you actually can't. Reduce to third gear, let it glide on the apex. You can take a little curb, and on this one I find it easier to return to the throttle, so you can be a little more pushy. Okay, for this one, the danger is the same as usual, losing your rear. So you need to have a very controlled entrance on the chicane. You should reach this point on the extended sixth gear, reduce to fourth, and then focus to straighten your car to the left turn. More than doing the left turn, it's almost has straightening the car in order to keep going forward, preparing for the fast right corner. Okay, so around this point, it's not really about turning right, it's more about keeping it as straight as you can to traverse this part. Don't abuse the sausage curbs because you will spin. Okay, so for this one, on GP sessions, lift. It's more advisable unless you are fully confident on your setup and on your racecraft. If not, lift or practice a stint on GP sessions and see how the car reacts with more tire wear. For me, the best option and the safest option, of course, you will lose a little bit of speed, is to lift. But if you are going close to the car in front, you will then have a DRS zone to compensate. So for me, it is not really worth it to risk it all on this turn, especially because it's hard to nail. It's easier when tires are at an optimal wear, but as your stint progresses, this one will become harder to nail. This and the last corner, we'll talk about it. Okay, the Most difficult corner for me. This one was revised and it actually became a very technical corner. On Q, this will probably be a place to do or die. For me, the secret here relies on the braking. It's one of those corners where brakes aren't used to slow your car. This was said by Mario Andretti. He said that it amazes him how many people think brakes are used to slow your car. What he actually means is that brakes can be done. This is the principle of trail braking. Brakes can be used to modulate your speed on a corner, and it's exactly what you need to do here. You need to deliver the proper amount of braking through the corner in order to keep a good momentum until you reach the apex. After that, it's all about returning to your throttle and be aware of over-daring, because this is another place where you lose your rear if you push it too hard. Keep it on fourth gear. For me, it's best. You may reach this on seventh or eighth if you are coming with the RS open. And for me, the proper gear here is fourth gear. Okay, this one became for me a little harder than last year. I think last year's game you could take this easier than now. So focus on getting that right curb, hugging it, but grip will not come as easier as it came on last game. So watch out for your throttle application. As soon as you feel it biting the track, do it, but beware that your rear may snap. This is all about feel. Practice this corner as many times as you can. You should do this on, you will upshift to fifth around this point, but then you should return to fourth gear for this corner. For this one, it's flat. Watch out for the racing line because it's a bit blind. This is all about commitment. This corner is indeed one of those where um, it's I, I can't really explain it. This is you need to you can't take a middle term on this corner. Either you if you want to do it properly, it's one of those places where you have to trust. Take as much as you can from this left curb, this green area, and you should feel it biting the track, getting all that grip that you need. If you are not feeling it stable on your wheels and on your controllers, lift. If you are feeling it stable, if you are feeling it going, then keep that throttle down. But it's all about commitment. You can't change your decision before when approaching the corner. If you are going to do it with it all, then you have to stick to it. Otherwise, this is a place where things can go really bad, especially because you will enter the gravel trap and you will almost for certain spin. If you are not feeling confident, then my advice is to lift and do it with utmost care. But this will harm your straight line speed all the way down to the T1. Okay, so this is the lap. Like I said, not a setup meant for TT. So I think that and 111.4, I think that it somehow validates the setup, which I will give you on the Grand Prix session. Okay, so uh, let's take this session with Tsunoda that I was experimenting before.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
Okay, as per the setup, ERL is a good option for me because DRS and toe will be very strong on this track, which means that you can actually sacrifice a little bit of straight line speed, and this will help you a lot along the way. So 47.36 is my suggestion. Here, since we have not unlike Bahrain, where we have a lot of corners where strong corner exits are crucial. As you could see, this is all about maintaining balanced speed. So I will reduce the differential a bit in order to keep it more balanced. This one is the usual. This one is also the same concept, stiffer on the front, softer on the rear, and ride height. You can play around with this. If you want more straight wide speed, reduce it. If you want to attack those curbs, kick it up a notch. Brake bias. Since we won't be doing harsh braking, that those very strong braking inputs, I think that the 53 might be doable and help you navigating those corners. But beware, it makes it a little more unstable. And the usual here. Okay. Strategy. I tried both of them. I didn't like the S tire feel on the end of the stint, but experiment, try. My suggestion for Bahrain was not correct, so for this time I really encourage you to try one stint with each and see how you feel. I will take this one because I think that on the long term game the medium tire will help you, and also if you are able to keep within DRS range, you will counter the more effective grip on the S tire until it starts to wear, obviously. Fuel, from what I tried, plus half a lap seems enough for here. Okay, so we have covered the track on the TT, so this time I will do 2 laps just for you to see how it feels. The AI is on 110. Just some advice for the race start. You usually race starts, and here in Spain where we have a long path, it's always a recipe for disaster because you have a very long path until turn 1, and turn 1 is done at a considerable speed. So, if you are going to pull moves on this part on a very packed grid, chances are you will overdo your speed, you will skid, and you will bump your opponents. Think it just like it happened on the Grand Prix uh, past weekend when Russell gained those positions not because he risked, but because he had a better launch. And that's my advice for you. You can only gain positions out of a better launch from your opponents if you want to do it safely. If your launch was equal or worse than your opponent's, then in order to gain positions, the amount of risk you'll need to put will probably end bad for you and for your fellow driver. Keep this in mind. Um, as you probably have noticed, I prefer to keep on the outside, and for me, this is also the better place for it because it will give you the optimal position for T2. Either way, don't stand in the middle. Pick one side. If you stand in the middle, you're going to be engulfed from both sides, and chances are you will bump. Okay, let's try this.
DRS now enabled. DRS enabled.
Okay, not a very good session since I made a mistake which immediately took me out of DRS range. But I hope this helps anyway. Okay, guys, have a good race. Hopefully one. as good as round one. Cheers!